Hello. We should be starting here in just a minute. All right, well, thank you for joining us at the 2013 Bitcoin convention. I'll be hosting or moderating the panel here on all chains. So please hold your questions until the end. We'll be opening the floor for the last 15 minutes. I'd like you to line up at the microphone back here, and we'll address all of your questions. I'd like to start out first by asking you guys, who out there is actually using altcoins or has knowledge of altcoins at the moment?
Flip your camera.
And more specifically, I'd actually like to ask you, who's using any of the altcoins that we're talking about today? Friedcoin, Terracoin, Ripple, or Bitcoin, actually, no. Litecoin, sorry. Okay. Who out there is only using Bitcoin? The purpose of this panel today is going to explain some of the difficulties that are being faced right now with the altcoins, and what we can do about that, and how we can facilitate the continued use of altcoins. I'd like to start out with a little introduction. Each person up here would like to introduce yourselves. Give us a little bit of a description of what your coin does and what it actually accomplishes, or over what Bitcoin can do. Let me start from right. Chris Larsen.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us. Great to be here. So my name is Chris Larsen. I'm the CEO of OpenCoin. OpenCoin is a company that's building the Ripple network. So we're not really an alt-chain per se, but what the Ripple protocol is it's another method of sort of building these math-based currencies. We call them math-based currencies as opposed to virtual currencies. Just to distinguish that in a math-based currency, the beauty of it is that you don't have a central authority, you don't have somebody that can debase the system. So that's what we call math-based. But like Bitcoin, Ripple is a currency, and it's also a payment system, a distributed global payment system. We in some ways look at the global payment system aspect as being maybe the most revolutionary thing that's going on right now in the whole movement. So we try to focus on that, and probably the key aspects of what Ripple is it's one multi-currency, so you can use Bitcoin in the Ripple payment system. So hopefully that helps the utility of Bitcoin and Litecoin and Den and all kinds of different currencies that you can put in the system. We have a different method of solving the double spend problem, which we call consensus. So picture it as a global shared ledger with a process of consensus. And what that allows is confirmation of transactions quickly. And then probably the final difference is because we don't have mining as part of our authorization method, we can give away large amounts of ripples. And why do we do that? Well, we think all these currencies are about three things: trust, utility, and liquidity. Trust really is a math-based idea behind Bitcoin and Ripple, no central authority. Utility is all about payments. How easy is it to do? Can you accept payment in your preferred currency, speed, all of those key issues. And then liquidity, of course, is the final one, which comes from really wide adoption by hopefully everybody on the world on these new ideas. And also things like what we try to build in, which is a distributed currency exchange. So distributed currency is built right into the Ripple protocol. So I'll stop there, happy to answer any questions, of course, as we go forward. And thanks for having us.
Thank you, Chris.
My name is Friedenbach, and I represent Friedcoin at this panel. And
Friedcoin is for Bitcoin. It is designed to separate the medium of exchange from store of value, which I think Bitcoin is excellent for, but not so much for transactional purposes. And by doing that, our coin is based on a number of economic theories predicting that it will allow an increased entrepreneurship by allowing for zero interest loans with high liquidity, and also eliminating time preference from investments and allowing for greater sustainability in the economy. And we believe that Friedcoin or something like that can exist alongside Bitcoin, as well as alongside many other currencies, such as basket currencies. We think are something in the future. We can talk about that. And as a group, we're also very hopeful about the future of alt chains as a possibility for extending the type of transactions that are available to Bitcoin in general. For example, having complex color coin proposals or proof of stake or proof of hash voting, for example, are both things that we think are going to be very big in the near future and maybe eventually adopted by Bitcoin itself.
Thank you, Mark. Charles?
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Charles Lee, also known as Coffee on the Bitcoin Top Clubs. I created Litecoin about a year and a half ago. At that time, there were quite a few other currencies out, like Solid Coin, Xcoin, Coin, and these all have their own flaws. So I was thinking, maybe I can create one that combines all the benefits of all the other altcoins without the flaws and see what happens. So that's what I did. It was good way for me to learn the Bitcoin code base also. So I launched it, released it out there, and it did really well. Now it's like the most popular other currency to Bitcoin. And the difference between Litecoin and Bitcoin, there's a few. One is like it has faster transaction times. So blocks are found every 2.5 minutes instead of 10 minutes. And it also uses the script proof-of-work hashing function, which is different from Bitcoin's SHA-256.
Thank you, Charles. Dennison?
My name is Dennison Bertram. I'm working on the Terracoin project. My forum name is Crazy Rabbit. I'm not a developer of Terracoin, but I was attracted to Terracoin in the beginning as in recognizing the need for there to be an alt-chain that was actually essentially a fork or a clone of Bitcoin, where you could experiment with some of the more experimental features of Bitcoin that are not enabled on the main chain, but with the added addition of having some sort of economic value to the coin, which would give users an incentive to come up with creative ways of testing the more experimental features that are available in Bitcoin, and giving you some novel vectors of attack for the coin. The project is really interesting. Currently, I think it's a little bit in a bit of a troubled spot because indeed, we had faster block confirmation time, which turned out to be maybe a critical fatal flaw to the project, but it's been interesting nonetheless.
Thank you, Dennison.
I'm going to go ahead and ask a few questions here. I'm going to start with the first question to Chris, and I'd like each person to answer the question, but we'll start off with Chris here. What are your thoughts on blockchain technology being implemented for something other than a new currency, kind of like these basket currencies that were mentioned earlier? Something like voting, stock shares, virtual game currency, or even possibly a social media network that's based on blockchain.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting what can be done with these technologies. The idea of sort of open protocols now in finance is, I just think that it's probably the biggest revolution we've seen now in 20 years of the internet in financial services. Really think about what has changed with finance over 20 years ago. Not necessarily really changed, it's still very balkanized industry. So the most exciting thing about this entire movement is that sort of open protocol that's going to allow people now to use these things for all kinds of things. And we try to focus on that with Ripple, and focusing on as a payment system which can accept any currency. So that if you use Bitcoin, you can use other map-based currencies like Friedcoin, any of those currencies, any political currency, any community currency can be used. And again, these are almost like public goods, right? Anybody can build without license or contract or paying fees like you have to in the existing payment rails. So the idea that these things can be used for other ways for humans to interact, I think there's all kinds of possibilities when you look at what Jeff and Caleb invented with this consensus process.